Good evening, Joy and Pain members. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And how's your chronic pain doing today? And how has it been all week? Well, I've been looking so forward to tonight with Jessica Coulthard. Thank you for joining us as well, Tracy. And we're still waiting for a few more members to come in. And we have Christina as well with us tonight. And welcome, welcome. Tonight, I'm so excited for what Jessica has prepared for you all. We're going to talk about identity tonight. And I know she's been working hard on this all week. And I'm looking so forward to passing the topic over to her because this is her expertise. She is an NLP trained coach. She is a Tony Robbins Madanis trained coach. And she is the Bring the Joy girl. And I'm so excited to have her as my business bestie. And we're going to talk about bringing more joy into your chronic pain every single day, every single week on Wellness Wednesdays. So I will pass it over to you, Jessica Coulthard. I know we're starting late tonight and it's my fault because I was stuck in traffic. I am so sorry, but I really thank you for showing up with us, for you tonight. And Jessica, take it away. Thank you.
Thank you, Tanya. I love your radio DJ introduction there. You got this great voice for hosting this show. I love it. So I'm Jessica Coulthard, the Bring the Joy girl. And what I want to talk about and share with everybody tonight is how our identity, which is basically how we perceive ourselves, can hold us back. It can either work for us or it can work against us. And in a lot of cases, it's working against us because we have these negative impressions of ourselves based on lots of different experiences that have happened over many, many years. And see, yes, Tracy's going, yep. See, I'm speaking the truth here. It's unfortunate that we tend to believe more of the negative about ourselves than we do the positive. And so what happens is we end up stacking that on, and that just becomes our identity. It's who we subconsciously view ourselves as. And the main problem with this is that our identity is basically the belief that we have about ourselves, and that belief will be what we feel we're capable of. So whatever we believe about ourselves is what we also believe we are capable of. And so if you don't believe that you're capable of something, it doesn't matter how hard you try, you're not going to do it because it's an actual identity crisis that you're having, right? Or an identity conflict. Right? It's like me thinking that I could be on stage singing like our beautiful Tanya here. Like, it's just not going to, I can sing, but no one's going to want to listen to me. You're muted, baby. I can't hear you.
Well, yes, you can sing and anyone can find their voice. And I've heard you sing and you are beautiful. And you know what? I can't dance like you. So everyone has their gifts. And so I would say, never underestimate the power of purpose. You can do anything you choose to do, just might need a little more training. How does that sound?
Absolutely. See, and that's exactly it, right? Is if I was determined that I did want to stand shoulder to shoulder with my beautiful friend here and sing with her, yeah, I absolutely could do that if I wanted to. I could go get training. I could do these things, but because I've created an identity for myself that I'm not a good singer, I am never going to do that, right? And so that is basically the whole point of what we're going to talk about today. So one of the things that I wanted to start with, and Tanya, feel free to bust in anytime you want. Anybody bust in anytime you want, is that I want to start talking about language and the words that we use when we think about ourselves and when we're talking to ourselves, right? So I quickly wrote down a few words that I think about myself. So words that I use for myself are independent, capable, intelligent, organized, friendly. But here's where it gets a little interesting. So then the next one is I always call myself, oh, I'm just a bigger girl. So that's one that holds me back. Independent actually can hold me back in some ways as well. And I always think of myself as a tomboy. And it's funny because whenever I say that to people, they're like, no, you're not. Like, you're feminine. What are you talking about? But it's that thing that I see myself as, right? And so we create this this picture of ourselves in our own mind. And what happens is we live into that identity. Yeah, go ahead, Tanya.
So what I'll say to that too is when it comes to a chronic pain patient, you
Yes.
almost form this identity of I'm injured, so I can't. I'm disabled, so I'm limited, right? I like to choose the word permanently able. You know, it's what you identify with. I'm injured, yes, but I'm fully capable. I might have limitations now, but things are fully possible. So we have to see things through a different lens. It's exactly what you said. You place yourself in a box when you own the labels that you not only put on yourself, but that other people, like doctors, place upon you. I cried when I got the label of permanent disability because along with it comes compensation. If we see that as just paperwork for something you have to qualify for, rather than the label you adopt for yourself, you can change those labels. You don't have to own them. You need it for compensation for what you're going through until you have a different diagnosis, but that doesn't mean you have to own it. I have friends who've been diagnosed with things and they go, get that off my chart. I don't own that. And they've actually willed themselves to be better and be undiagnosed with it. So really think about what you're putting in your mind as your own identity, but also what other people have labeled you as, including the healthcare system. If they say you will never get better, I say, watch me. Say, I am permanently abled. So back to you, Jess. That's my take on that, those labels that we have in society from others and from ourselves.
Yeah, and I absolutely love that. And especially what you said about, no, take that off my chart. Like I refuse to be labeled that way. So yes, the first, so that's the next thing I want to talk about. But actually, before I go there, I want to ask you, Tanya, some words that you use to describe yourself. I would love to hear them.
And don't cringe, because this is only my adopted label. I'm a size sexy. I'm not the size that's on the back of my clothing. If I walk into a clothing store, what do they say? What size are you looking for? Get that out of my face. If it fits me, I'll wear it. Designers have different labels on their clothing. Oh, that dress is too tight for you. No, it's not. I'm a size sexy. I'm curvy. I'm voluptuous. If I lived in the 1600s, it means I ate well. I'd have men following me everywhere because they know that I was sustainable in society, that I wasn't wafy and was about to die from, I don't know, the Black Plague. But think about it. People see women with a bit of meat on their bones and they think they're nothing, they're discardable, they're not beautiful. But those things are labels that the media has placed on. So when I look at myself in the mirror, my identity is not defined by television, the media, all of those things. We have to look a certain way to be marketable. If I've got cellulite on my thighs, I gave birth to 5 kids. I am a mother. I can track every trace of stretch mark that helped me give birth to those 5 children. And you know what? They are my war wounds from every push I gave birth with. I make no apologies for my size. I have confidence. So when you say independent, confident, size sexy, voluptuous, that's not me saying, this is who I am to please a man. This is me looking in the mirror saying, I'm a 53-year-old woman, and every scar, every wrinkle that I've got on my body, I've earned it. I am back to work when they said I never would. I'm walking in heels when they said I'd be permanently in a wheelchair. So everything that people have told me is impossible is possible, and I see possibility. So I refuse to have an identity of a bigger girl, fat, unhealthy, permanently disabled. So all of those things, I see the opposite for myself. But that took a lot, because it took a lot of tears, pain, hard work, confidence on the outside until I believed it on the inside. And people like yourself reminding me every day, you can do this. So it's teamwork amongst women and men as well. We can't discount the men too, because a lot of men feel this way too. So it's all about not putting that label on the inside of your clothes or the inside of your brain. Get back to the joy, right? So I'll turn it back over to you, and that's how I feel.
You know, and just watching you, like when you were saying those words about yourself the whole bit, like you were just holding yourself in such an empowering way. And that is what words and identity can do. Tanya, right now, she basically just showed you exactly what it is that I want to encourage other people, is to take the words that are more powerful, that feel better for you to say them, that you want to live into, and you own that shit. And you do that. You stand like she does, like Superwoman when she says it, you know, like her whole body language showed you that she believed every freaking word that she said. And that's what you got to do, is you've got to decide who you are and then own it like Tanya does. It's beautiful. And it's empowering. Like you say, like when you were first diagnosed and they gave you all these labels, you basically went, nah, that's not me. You got me messed up with somebody else. Like you don't even know who you're talking to, like, right?
Yes, but I also had family. My daughter has joined us tonight. Christina, she watched me go through seizures. She watched me walk in a walker, painfully so, walking up the street, trying. No, I can't even say trying, doing. Do you know? So she can definitely speak to my journey even before I met you, Jess. It's like, it wasn't easy. Don't get me wrong. It's these steps and this mindset. If you think it's just going to be turn a light on and go, ta-da, it's not as easy as just flipping a switch. It's a daily practice of gratitude. It's a daily practice of changing the language through the skill set that you have, Jess, in teaching us how to own a different mindset for ourselves, in saying, replacing words. If you think this way, what about using this word? How do you really feel? If you slump your shoulders when you say it, for example, okay, go like this. Think, what does a depressed person look like? I'm having a good day. My day is fun. Do you believe them? Do you know? How does an excited person look? Yes, it's amazing to work with Jess. She's phenomenal. Do you believe me? Absolutely, because I, with every fiber of my being, believe it. So when you work with someone who gives you the tools, gives you the mindset to really get into the heart of changing things for you, I call it changing the soil. You can either allow the circumstance that you're living in to defeat you and allow the plant above to die, but the roots are still there. Or you can change the soil and put it into a bigger pot with fresh soil and allow the plant to grow. This, in science, we call neuroplasticity. Your brain makes new synapses, new connections, new language, new skills, and you all of a sudden go, aha, I can have a better life. Identity and language does that for you, and Jess is the master of teaching you that. So Jess, tell them how they can learn this skill.
Well, I really like what you said when you were describing about neuroplasticity and how you're making new connections, right? The new, the neurons but the one thing that I really want to point out here is it takes repetition. Like those new pathways are not formed instantly. They're formed because you continuously repeat the same or similar over and over and over again to create those. So it's like you said earlier, it's not a one and done. This does take work. This takes intention. It takes like a new awareness, which is the whole point of what Tanya and I do here, is we come here to bring you guys new information, to create new awarenesses, to create opportunities for you to take a look in the mirror and say, who do I want to be? And then you live into that and you do it every single day. It's not a one-time thing, right? So yeah, that was just, I love what you said, but I wanted to just add that one extra piece. So with that in mind, I want to share, like you said, the tools. So I do, of course, I always come prepared with a tool or an exercise for people, because I am the queen of here's your homework. So, so the first one is to think about the words that you use when you think about yourself, and maybe make a list. So maybe spend some time journaling, or get a little notebook and just kind of keep it open throughout your day. And I would just start writing down the words, but I would have them on two different sides of the page. So the ones that you actually feel like, yes, this is who I would like to be, or who I truly believe that I am today. And then the ones that, you know what, I don't think that's who I am anymore, or that's not who I really want to be anymore. Like the word victim, like you don't want that in your life, right? So that would be a word that I would want to put onto the I would like to change this side, right? So that's the first exercise, is just to start becoming aware of the words that you use to describe yourself. And if you really want to get some really interesting information, ask other people. Like, did you hear Tanya? I mean, she gushes about me all the time. If I ever want to feel good about myself, I just call her. And Tracy too. Tracy's always so sweet, right? So, I mean, the chances are that there are people in your life that really love you, and they see you. They truly do see your brilliance. They see your value. And if you're struggling to find something in yourself to feel good about, just ask the people in your life. They're there, and they probably see you in a beautiful light that you're not even aware of. So I highly recommend doing that if you need somebody else's point of view. So that's something I wanted to quickly talk about. In NLP, we talk about positions. So there's first position, second position, and third position. First position is, I'm here, I'm experiencing this through my own eyes. And I can tell you about my experience of this situation here. And I can gain information about this through my own filters, right? And what we pay attention to in NLP, we talk about deletion, like whatever you're focused on is what you're focused on. So there's all these other things going on that you delete, so you're not even aware of them. Then there's generalizations. So if something happens to us and it's reasonably close to something else, we'll just group it together and say everything means that. And that's a generalization. That can be really dangerous. And then the other one is, I'm going to blank here. But anyways, there's three of them, and it's how we filter information. And so what happens is, I'm in this situation and I'm filtering through mine. Then we go to second position, which would be, I'm having a conversation with Tracy, and now I can ask myself, how would Tracy be perceiving me right now? Like, does she see me as somebody that she wants to listen to? Yeah, I think so, because she's here. So she wouldn't be here if she didn't want to hear what I had to say. So that must say something about me, the fact that Tracy chose to spend time away from her kids and come and spend time with us. So what does that say about me? So you could put yourself in what's called the second position and start to think about what the person who you're across from would think of you. And that can be a really interesting, enlightening way to look at a situation. Now there's third position. That would be an observer. So now Christina, because she has her camera off and a little bit less, we'll call it just engaged for the moment, she would be what we call the observer. So she would be watching Tracy and I have a conversation. She's not involved in the conversation. Now she's perceiving the situation through the observer's eyes. So now ask yourself, if I was the observer, what would I be thinking? Like, are these people friends? Does Tracy care about Jess? Does Jess care about Tracy? What's their relationship like? She's coming at it from a completely unbiased place. And that's also a really fun place to explore and think, how would a total stranger see me if I was, in the grocery store and they saw me and somebody else talking and they witnessed me? what would they think about me? Would they see me as an independent, friendly, confident? Would they see me as a bigger girl, or would they think, what are you talking about? You're average. Like, how would somebody else completely unbiased see you? And that can be a really fun exercise to do as well. Because again, typically they don't have those same internal judgments that we have about ourselves. And so we'll tend to see strangers in a more positive light than we would see ourselves. So just kind of 3 different perspectives that if you wanted to go deep into your own identity, this is one of the places that's fun to do. Anybody have any questions or comments around that one?
Well, I'll chime in on that. And then Tracy, yes, please do. I think oftentimes we get into the mind of really chiming in on all of these different positions that everyone might be thinking of us. And we tend to spiral downwards and think the worst. So, and then that can really damage our own self-identity. So Tracy, what were you going to say to that?
Well, I was just, when Jess was talking about like the observer thing and trying to, oh, sorry, my phone is dying. Yeah, what went through my head was, I don't know if I could think in terms of like someone of trying to picture what the other person is thinking, just because my self-esteem is so low that it would cause me anxiety. Right? So that's what I thought of. If I started thinking about that, I would not have positive words, I don't think.
Okay.
So,
Interesting.
If I could chime in on that a little bit, you've identified that your anxiety raises up when you think that. So maybe throughout the process of learning together, we could target some of the things why your anxiety heightens surrounding even approaching that exercise, and do some mindfulness strategies to assist with identity and assist with self-confidence around what could I do to lessen my anxiety, such as like I do EFT strategies, which is emotional freedom techniques. So surrounding that first, and then go through tapping your meridians, and then approach that question after you've reduced your anxiety through in the moment tapping first, and then try to approach that question again and say, what does this person really mean to me? You know, what does the relationship mean to me? And then approach that identity question, you know? So, because I used to do that a lot too. And then when I think about it, what other people think of me is none of my business, unless they have a vested interest in me. Like Jess cares about you, I care about you. We would never say anything to harm you. And any advice that we would give you would be to your benefit only. Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So, and then if we get some strategy, thank you. And thank you for just the fact that you're giving us your time right now shows us that you care about, most importantly, you, right? And that's why we show up for you on Wednesdays for Wellness Wednesday. So using strategies for mindfulness, for NLP practices, really helps develop the whole person in a way that you can show up best for you and remove those anxieties that really hold you back from being your best self, right? And then applying some of the strategies that are really beneficial in identifying who do you really want to show up as and who is important to show up for, which is you, your family, those closest to you, and then the people that have a vested interest in making you the best self that you can be. Does that make sense? Jess, do you want to chime in on that?
Yeah, so I just want to also keep in mind that this is a fictional person, right? This third position is not a person. I don't want you to name this person, think of it as like, this is my mom watching me. Like it's none of that. So don't project when you do this exercise. What I don't want you to do is project anybody into that position. They're a completely neutral, and the idea is to create awareness, right? And so I like what you were saying about like, who would you like to be? So imagine now, like if that idea brings you too much anxiety, switch it up to if a stranger saw me in this situation, who would I like them to, or how would I like them to think of me? And then you could think about, okay, so now how would I show up that way in this situation? What could I do? How would I act? How would I stand? Like Tanya was showing us, like, this is, if you see somebody kind of like hunched over and their eyes are low and they're not making eye contact, that person, you would think, okay, that like I saw that person, I would think that they were sad and that something was upsetting them. Whereas I see Tanya come walking in her heels and she's strutting like she does because she's got confidence, right? So how would you act if you would prefer to show up in the world as confident versus wanting people to think that you look unhappy? So maybe you could use that exercise more as a what if, as opposed, instead of maybe thinking about it right now in how would I show up now, if you feel like that's not what you want to think about. Does that clear it up for you, Tracy? Does that seem less likely to cause anxiety if you think more about who I'd like to be in that situation?
For sure.
Okay, good. Awesome. Yeah. And you know what, that's the beautiful thing about this kind of thing, right? Is, I mean, for me, that doesn't scare me because I've already prescribed to, like what Tanya said, where it's not nobody's business about who I am or not, right? So I don't give people a whole lot of weight in how I feel about myself. So for me to do that, it wouldn't bother me. But if you're not at that point and you do still have some insecurities or anything like that, yeah, I could see how that may very well be a bit of a stressful idea to do. So if you can just switch it around to who would I like them to see me as, then you can step into that. That creates another type of awareness. So yeah, thank you. Thank you for bringing that up because I would not have thought of that. So I'm really glad that you mentioned that. So
I can share an experience too. When I was 340 pounds and just starting to work out at the gym, I had my gym clothes on and I had, a tank top on, and I was feeling really good because I had just done 20 minutes on the treadmill. And then I just ran in to get like some milk and cereal for the kids at the Safeway. A really thin girl came up to the checkout behind me. And this is just to show you how cruel people can be. She goes, "Oh, wouldn't you want to look like me? Don't you wish one day you could look like me? It must be terrible to be so fat." Do you know, like, and I just hung my head, got to my car and just cried, and, and I was stuck at the checkout.
Who do I have to go hurt, Tanya? Who do I have to go hurt?
Right? But I was stuck for quite a while.
This girl gang's got that one.
Girl gang's got this. But at that moment, I was completely defeated. I had PTSD. I had so honestly, I have totally been there with anxiety, with all of the childhood stuff that I had been through, came back at that very moment. I felt like I couldn't move. I couldn't speak. The clerk didn't say anything. And then she picked up a magazine and said, "Don't you wish like you could look like Angelina Jolie?" Like just totally defeated, but the nastiness of the world can really get you. And I vowed from that day, no one will ever see me sweat again. Like ever take my power away again. I will. And then I got hit by a car and was in a wheelchair. But, and I was just like, no, I have to get better. I have to walk again. But, all of those experiences, humanity can be really, really cruel. But I had to remember, what was her motivation? Why did she have to do that to me? It had absolutely nothing to do with me. It had to do with her ugliness, inside and out. And people are going to do that. And that's from that day forward, I told myself what other people think of me is none of my business. I was there to support my children. I was there to do what I could and show up for me at the gym. It didn't matter that I was 340 pounds at that moment. I was doing something about it. But every now and then I'm reminded by people that, no, I'm not a size 2. I will never be a size 2. And if you are a size 2, that's okay for you. You know, we all come in different shapes and sizes. Well, guess what? Round is a shape too, and that's the size of my butt. And that's okay. I'm okay. This is the only body I have to live in, and I'm going to live fully in it. And, you know, my teeth are not perfect. My hair is not perfect. I'm getting gray, and my daughter's going to help me dye it. We age. Wrinkles are not perfect. Who cares? We're aging. We're all aging. We are all going through something. But you know what? By having these talks, we find out we're more similar than we are different. We're all struggling with something. Let's come together and struggle together. Because I have PTSD, I have anxiety, I have chronic pain. I go to work. We all are learning together that these identity labels that we place upon ourselves. I go to bed at night sometimes and cry. I'm not strong all the time. But I'll tell you what, I'll never let someone say that to me in a grocery store again. I ain't the one. I got a girl gang. But bottom line
Oh,
is,
yes, you do.
yes, I do. But we just need to be the best we can be in what we have and work through it together and love one another and show up for one another with the tools and learn about each other and ourselves each and every day. And I thank goodness for Jessica, because she's taught me so much since the day we met. And I'm thankful and I'm grateful. Thanks, Jess.
You're very welcome. You've taught me a lot too, my friend.
Thank you for allowing me to be vulnerable as well. And Tracy, thank you for being vulnerable with us. I really appreciate that.
Thanks.
So one of the other tools, because of course I like tools and exercises, is so a way that we can actually start to change the way that we see ourselves, and therefore create some better words, which will then lead to better beliefs about ourselves, which lead to an identity that we are proud of, and that will then actually allow us to go after the things that we may not have thought that we could until we do this work. Is something that I'm learning currently through my mentor. So Tanya likes to call me her coach, and I have a coach. My coach is this amazing guy, Anthony Hamilton, and he is teaching me and certifying me right now in something called mental magic. And one of the things that we have to do is, back to the repetitive thing, is it's very much about the repeating, is we have to create what's called a past successes list. And we have to add to it all the time. We have to constantly be in the mindset of giving ourselves credit, right? And thinking about the ways that, and these are tiny little things. They don't have to be big things. These can just be little things like, you know what? I made it to work on time today. Or, you know, I didn't spill my coffee on myself in the car today. Like whatever, like it doesn't even have to be a big deal, right? Like it's just, but what it does is it allows us to feel good about ourselves. And too often that's not what we're doing. We're thinking of all of the ways that we could be better. And yes, I get that this is what we're doing, is we're trying to help you become something. And I don't like to use the word better because we're all amazing, but you know, a better version of ourselves, the best version we can be of ourselves, because we only get to do this one time. So we should live into our best selves to have our best life. And so what I'd like to recommend for people is to also do this. So if there's a particular area where you in your life where you feel like you would like to do some work, you would like to make some changes, get some different outcomes, whatever, achieve some goals, I would specifically think about that area of your life and start creating your own past successes list. Because what the brain does is it goes searching for proof, right? It's like this whole confirmation bias thing. You will go find what you're looking for. So if you go looking for how much I suck, guess what? You're going to find it, right? And you're going to constantly be reminded of, shit, I can't sing. You know, and I'm going to look for all the ways that I believe that I can't sing, right? But if I was instead to go looking for all the times when actually I sounded pretty good, or, oh, that song came on and then it cut off and I kept singing and I was like, oh, I wasn't horrible. Like, you know, these little moments, right? Where Like there's certain songs that actually work really well with my voice and I can kill them. But if you ask me to sing another one, maybe not so much. But you want to write down the time you killed it on your list, because it starts to create this proof and this data. And that what it does is it puts your mind in the state of looking for the data. And then you can start to build up all of your past successes, so that when you say, okay, look, see, I have done this before. I am good at this. I've had successes in this area of my life before. Why not now? You can actually say, you're right. Why not now? Because I have done this before. So I gave an example for me. So with weight loss, because I'm the heaviest I've ever been in my life right now because of COVID and whatever other focuses. I had to go back into my own mind, into my own past successes list to think about, when have I successfully lost weight before? Because I need proof that I can do it. And I thought about it. And so I did. I wrote it down. So my examples of proof that I can actually lose weight is back when I joined Jenny Craig. Yes, I did. I successfully lost weight when I joined Jenny Craig. I also, at a completely different time, successfully lost I think 25 pounds when I was out walking every single day. And I also lost 10 pounds in 5 days when I did intermittent fasting. So boom, boom, boom. I have 3 completely separate times where I did 3 completely different things and I successfully lost weight. So now when I think about, okay, I can lose weight, I can do this, I now have proof. Yes, actually, Jess, you can freaking do this, right? I just have to look at what's worked in the past. How do I now implement those strategies into my life? And how do I take that and move forward? So that is what the beautiful part of doing this past successes list can do, because it will allow you to find the proof that you need to do the things that you want to do. Tanya, anything?
Absolutely. And when thinking about other successes, such as if you feel, I think I gave the example in previous weeks, if you are at the lowest point or you feel like you're at the lowest point, when you say, I have nothing, take stock of what you do have and you'll be amazed. You have a lot. The other example I'll give to that is start a brag book. I got this from watching an online motivational video. I put all of my certificates when the doctor said you'll never go back to school. I gathered up all my certificates and I put them into a binder. And I looked at that binder every day. And I was like, oh, really? They said, because I was a teenage mom and had to drop out of school in grade 11. I had straight A's in school. I was like, no, I really can go to university. Like, this is before the accident, but I really believed in my mind I wasn't smart enough to go to university, because they said, you're a teenage mom, you will never go and finish your grade 12. You don't have an opportunity to go to university because you have to have your grade 12, you have to pass SATs, you have to do all these things. So I never even tried, because they said, no, it's not possible. And I was like, And one day I said, why? But I never asked why before. Why is it not possible? It's not possible because people who didn't go to university told me it's not possible. That's who I was basing my information on, honestly. So I went and wrote my GED and I started to put things into order, and I passed my GED. And one day I applied for university and I got in, and I was like, they accepted me, a teenage mother. How is this possible when so many people said it was impossible? So what you're saying is that look for proof. If you can't find proof in your own experience, find out who told you it wasn't possible and ask why they said it wasn't possible. My biggest thing is, if someone has done it before you, it's freaking possible for you to do it too. So even if you don't have the proof in your examples, find someone else who was 340 pounds and lost weight. And I'm not talking about a celebrity. No, they have the means and all this other stuff. Find someone in your community who's lost weight. Ask them how they did it. Right, Tracy? I see you shaking your head. Yes, yes, yes. Right? I have lost weight repeatedly. But Tracy, tell me, who did you consult with? You're shaking your head. Yes, it's so true, right?
Yeah, Candace.
Right?
Yeah.
She's amazing. Absolutely amazing, Candace is. And now she teaches people boot camp.
I miss boot camp so bad.
Right? Hey, but
Yeah,
you're going to get there.
I think Candace
I'm just
herself
getting
lost
back-
100 pounds, right?
Yeah,
What's that?
Candace
Candace
lost
lost
100 pounds.
100 pounds.
Yeah.
So now she's teaching other people how. So yeah, like I absolutely, like whenever I think about wanting to lose weight, I always think like I need to do what Candace did, because I believe through her that it's possible as well.
Right? I've
too.
lost 120 pounds. We were on Instagram Live and I'm like, I was 340 pounds. Now I'm 120 in my arm. I'm 220.
Amen, sister. I'm back up ever since I broke my foot, and I've been getting back walking. And I walked Monday, Tuesday, and I took today off, which is a good thing because I was working around my house and I have 5,411 steps in, and my foot is killing me. Like, I was just having Josh rub it. I was like, you don't have to massage it because the top of my foot is not healing properly. Anyway, sorry. But yeah, I was like, you just rub the bottom. Like, I just needed that feeling. You didn't have to, right? But yeah, it's just when you have the physical limitations, and I push myself. Like, I would, if I could and my body didn't stop me, I would walk twice around Mill Lake, or I would go for a longer walk. Because
Do you have a pool close by? No.
Yeah, but I wouldn't be allowed to go in.
Oh, okay. No worries, no worries. But you know, any little bit of movement, any little bit is still good movement, you know,
Right.
and
Well,
don't overdo it.
it's all up here, right? Like, I need to just tell myself that it's fine, that I'm doing the best I can. And if I get 4 days of exercise, great. If I don't, I'm doing
You
what
know
I
what?
can, right?
Exactly.
But it's
Exactly.
frustrating because I was walking 10,000 steps a day and working out 3 days a week, and then just went to nothing. And I'm like,
You'll get there. Be gentle with yourself. Be
oh, and that's
gentle.
that. I have to.
Yeah.
It's
You're doing
frustrating.
great though. You're
Thank
doing
you.
great. It's one day at a time.
There's a lady that I've been following on TikTok. And she is doing this like challenge where it's like she's done nothing, no type of exercise or anything for a couple of years, and now she's starting to do stuff. She literally just gets up and down off of her bed, right? She does like squats from her bed kind of thing. So there's no impact, and it's just, and now she's raising her arms when she does it, and she's just gradually adding things, right? But she's not putting too high expectations on herself, right? So that, because expectations, I mean, I could go another hour just on talking about how bad expectations are for you, is because we create these expectations of what we think we're supposed to do. And then when we let ourselves down, it actually does more damage than if you had never expected that from yourself in the first place. So, you know, Tracy, I mean, you know, you were doing amazing, right? And just, you know, just take it slow. Like, if you can't, yeah, I mean, I know you, I know how driven you are. I know how determined you are. I know, you know, I mean, it's amazing to watch you. And especially considering, I mean, previous to this, I mean, I know Josh is home, working from like closer to home now. He's not out of town like he was, but even then, like when you had your two kids with you, I mean, you took them with you. Like, you are not the kind of person that lets things become excuses for you, right? So I totally understand that right now, the level of frustration that you might be feeling because you can't do the things you want to do, right? Yeah. But I think you need to also give yourself credit. Like, you are a busy mom. You are busy, and you're taking good care of those kids and your husband, and you have a business, and you're being like, you know, like you see, this is what I'm talking about. This is that third person, right? Like, if you ever, like, you know, it shouldn't bring you anxiety, because I don't think that understand how other people see you. And that's the point of the exercises, right? Is to be able to step out of your own stuff and let somebody else show you. And like I would say, I wish you could see yourself through my eyes. And I'm sure that, you know, if we were to take some of our own negativity and just kind of put it aside for a few minutes, we could actually honor how amazing we really are doing. Even the little things, even if you don't think you're doing much, you are doing a lot more than you realize. So that's my message for everybody, but especially for Tracy.
Absolutely. So I think just the takeaways from tonight are really discover who you want to be. Then on the other page, look at who you think you are. Then step back from that and see how someone else might see you. And then look at how an observer might see you communicating with someone else about you. And look at that and really step into that. Step into that and think of the labels that you place upon yourself. Am I right, Jess?
Yeah.
Yeah, and think of the identity, because honestly, you can be and present yourself any way you want. Don't allow yourself to be defined the way others or the way you think others think of you. Don't do that to yourself, because it really can tear you down.
You could show other people how to look at you too, right? Like, yeah, like what you were doing, Tanya, when you were like this, right? I mean,
Yes.
it's all about how you show up in the world. Yeah, you can walk in all slumped over and feeling not good enough, or you could walk in and present yourself to the world, right?
I'm sure I irritate many on a daily basis, and that's not my problem. But I'm sure at work,
but that's not your goal, right?
Much some days. That's not my goal. My goal is to show up and have a good day, regardless how everyone else presents themselves at work. I'm joyful to have a job. I'm grateful for my job. Is that my long-term goal? No, not necessarily. I want to show up helping people. And in my gratitude that I start my day with, I'm grateful for that job. So I'm going to show up choosing to have joy in my day. If other people choose to show up being grumpy that they have to go into work, that is their decision. I choose to smile. I choose joy. So if I'm the joy girl at work because Jess is my business bestie, well, what they think is none of my business. So if that irritates them or rubs something wrong, that sits with them. So I think identity is a huge thing, because it's how our shoulders are back, creates less stress in your body. Less stress prevents heart attacks, strokes, so many chronic illnesses. Because if your mind is at ease, your body is not in dis-ease. That is the takeaway from identity, because it is such an important topic. And I was so looking forward to Jess presenting this tonight. So I thank you, Jess, for bringing this to the forefront, because we could literally talk all night about this, because it is.
I got way more notes. Like we could do a whole nother episode.
Right. But if anyone
it
wants
really is. It's such a big topic. Like it goes so deep. And I mean, we can only go into this on such a surface level, right? But I mean, it goes so deep. And there's so many ways that you can actually start to change your identity. Like I could list off like 5 different NLP exercises or techniques that I could help people with that like are instant. They work. They're incredible.
But I will say this is why it's so important to work one-on-one with a coach, because you can really dive deep into improving your healthy lifestyle, your healthy mindset, your healthy body, everything. And I'm honestly not trying to sell you anything. It is work with someone you resonate with, work with someone who can help you dive deep into that. Work with someone who can really assist you with the NLP tools to develop your identity in a positive way and build your toolbox to wellness, because that is what Guided Path Wellness is all about. That's why we show up here every Wednesday. That is what Just a Girl Like Me coaching is about. That's what Jess is about. That's what I am about. And we're here to serve our community. One-on-one, we're amazing. in our group coaching classes were amazing. And I'm not just saying that. We show up here every Wednesday to provide you with information. As coaches, speaks for itself. She was my coach and just helped me develop everything that I am today. So did my family, mind you. But Tracy can even tell you, with the Makeover Challenge, Jess was one of their coaches. And oh my goodness, helping people meet and exceed their expectations. Wow, mind blowing. Tracy's nodding her head because yes, a coach will help you get there. You know, you can watch motivational talks all day. You can show up for yourself writing in your gratitude journal. Yes. But when you work one-on-one with a coach, it keeps you accountable. It keeps you on track. It helps give you new ideas in your mind and helps you structure your life in a way that helps you succeed in a meaningful, possible way and in the right trajectory for you, individualized. That's what's important. But thank you so much. That's a good place to wrap it up, I feel. How about you, Jess?
Oh, I think it's fabulous.
Thank you so much for putting together the Wellness Wednesday on identity this week. And I'm so glad for all who joined us and for all who are going to watch this after we post this on YouTube, as well as in the Joy and Pain group. Joy and pain. It's like sunshine and rain, because chronic pain is always not a happy day, but joy is your choice. And you can always choose joy. So thank you again for joining us in Joy and Pain. And we're always happy to take your suggestions for topics, for wellness, for chronic pain, and ways to bring more joy and purpose into your life. I'm Tanya Joyce, and
Jessica Coulthard, bring the joy, girl.
yes, you are. And thanks for spending your Wednesday night with us. Thank you, Tracy and Christina, for joining us tonight. I love you all, and we'll see you next Wednesday.
Bye.
Bye for now.
I love you.
Love you too.
Love you too.